If your go-to is to ghost someone, anytime you feel like you don't want to talk to them anymore or you're not interested anymore, if you found somebody else, then you're a coward. Yep. I said what I said. Let's argue. Today, we find ourselves in the midst of dating people online, dating people in, social settings and things like that. And what's come to our attention is most often, because the dating scene is so easy to get into and get out of, people are ghosting people at an exponential rate. People are justifying ghosting people by saying they are protecting their energy under some guise of spirituality. But honey, there's nothing spiritual about being a coward. We're going to get into today ghosting, why it is inappropriate to ghost somebody, and there are only a few reasons of which you should ghost somebody, and they have nothing to do with what the hell you've been ghosting people for. If you're new to my channel, hi, welcome. My name is Love Spell, a queen with a pen. And on this channel, we go into various subjects like spiritual healing, shadow work, and how to vibe high and stay there. If this seems like something that you're interested in, make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell. We about to stir up this pot. Y'all ready or not? So what is the definition of ghosting? Ghosting, textbook-wise, is abrupt stop to communication and or dealings with someone that you have been dealing with currently without warning. It is just not showing up, not answering phone calls, not responding to texts, just being, i.e., a ghost. It is usually done to people who are in some kind of ship, whether it be a friendship or a relationship. And it usually is somebody who is had some kind of standing, not someone you met one or two times. That's not considered ghosting. That's just backing off of a situation. But somebody that you created some type of stability with and was moving forward in a direction and then just abruptly halted that direction, giving this person no closure, no understanding of why, just backing out of the situation with only selfish intent, i.e. playing dead. And the reason why I bring up playing dead or playing possum, which is weird as hell as far as I am concerned, is because I want to get into why it is a cowardly behavior that is only done for selfish needs, and it is a way of which to avoid conflict that you are creating on your own. If you want to be a piss poor person, practice ghosting regularly. But on this channel, we talk about uplifting and being a better version of yourself. So if you ghosted somebody in the past, I'm going to show you why that's not okay. Why moving forward, you should apologize, even if it was years ago, because you do have traumatic events or things that you've created that have been trauma to that person, and you do not know how you affected that person. Also giving that person closure, no matter how long ago it was, and being able to be a better version of yourself moving forward. I'm about to dig my claws into you guys, because ghosting ain't it. Let's get into it. So ghosting is one of the most selfish and toxic behaviors that is going around right now, and it's running rapid. You guys are playing possum all over the damn place, and it is ridiculous. I mean, I wonder, like, what do you do when you run into somebody in the streets after you've played possum with them? Does your heart rate grow up? Do you like run from aisle to aisle in the grocery store to avoid seeing this person seeing you? Do you like stand there like a roach in the kitchen when the lights come on and see if the person sees you or not? Like, what do you do in the event that you run into a person you've ghosted in the street? And does that not feel cowardly to you? See, ghosting is all good until the universe lets you meet your fate from ghosting in the first place. Not wanting to admit how you feel to someone is called a lack of accountability and a lack of being able to communicate properly. You should not be ashamed of how you feel. You should be not ashamed of changing your mind about a situation. And you should be able to verbalize that with another person without feeling guilty for doing it. If in which you feel guilty for doing it, it is because of a couple of things. One, it is really shitty. Put that out there. Or you are trying to avoid hurting someone's feelings. And it's not really that you're trying to avoid hurting their feelings, because you have all intentions of hurting their feelings regardless. You're trying to avoid feeling guilty from hurting someone's feelings. You're trying to avoid what hurting somebody's feelings looks like having to feel that feeling, having to be the one to do it, having to stand there in it after you've done it. But you want to hurt that person's feelings because you want to get what you want, no matter what the situation is. And there's nothing wrong with choosing what you want off top. But if you can stand in getting what you want, you can stand in telling people that you want what you want or you don't want what you don't want. And that should be perfectly okay. There are only a couple of reasons, and I'd say about 3 or 4, that are actual valid reasons for ghosting an individual. And none of which have anything to do with protecting your energy from someone or not owing them anything on this track of life. No, we do not owe people anything. We do not. We do not owe people respect. We do not owe people moral compasses. We do not owe people love. We do not owe people cherishment. We do not owe people anything of good or valor or understanding and commitment. We don't owe anybody any of those things. But we owe it to ourselves to be forthright people. See, ghosting someone does bring trauma to that person, most definitely. But in the world of spirituality where I come from, you're racking up karma, baby. Racking up karma. And what you feel when you run into that person that you feel the greatest about, remember, ghosting culture goes multiple ways. And the way you feel like you don't owe nobody nothing, other people feel like they don't owe you anything either. Well, let's get back on topic. So you ghost someone, right? You spend about, 6 months getting to know this person, dating and all of that. And maybe somebody else comes into your energy field that you feel is more valid, that grass greener on the other side situation. And that person is touching all of your energetic buttons and making you feel a certain type of way. Granted, instead of actually talking to the person that you are dating or currently talking to, you know that explaining to that person that you saw someone else, met someone else that's brand new and giving you this brand new energy seems quite shitty and makes you a person who hops from one thing to another without any respect or regard for the people that you've created lifestyles and situations for. It makes you disloyal. It makes you sound like a shitty person. You will avoid actually telling that person that you are uninterested in them anymore because you have found some new shiny toy that you want to play with, right? So you will pan back communication and start to communicate with that other person more often. You will find reasons in which it is okay because you don't owe anybody anything, because you didn't know for sure. It's only been 6 months. You're not married to that person. How do they expect for you? Blah, 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 blah. And you see where I'm going with this, right? So now you don't owe that person anything. You ghost them. They try to contact you because usually that's what happens when people don't get any closure. And especially when there's no explanation for why you just disappeared off the planet Earth. And you avoid and abate that as well. So now you have this person who feels jaded. This person who doesn't understand what they did wrong when absolutely nothing was done wrong on their part. And they haven't figured that out yet. But they're going to sit there waiting and in agonizing hurt for hours, upon days, upon months, possibly, depending on the situation, trying to figure out where they went wrong. What red flags that they did not see that you may have possessed that would have caused you to be this type of person to them. Why they're not good enough. Why you chose something other than them to go a move towards. And why you couldn't just be an upright person and just tell them flat out how you felt. Because yes, they do not own you or own your decisions, but would have been respectful, being that they've done nothing to you, for you to actually tell them straight out so that they can get the closure they can need it and they could just walk on. Now, 2 things happen when a person is ghosted on the other side. The person ghosted will either act out in sadness or in anger. According to health physicians or mental health physicians, acting out in anger is actually more healthy than acting out in sadness, because sadness can be an abyss. Sadness can open up wounds of other traumatic events that happened prior to, abandonment issues, things that have not been addressed, things that were addressed but that weren't complete. It can reopen old wounds. Sadness can be something that puts people in a spiral. And no, you might not be the cause of someone unaliving themselves, but you might be a catalyst in that if you don't tread lightly. Who wants to be that person? Obviously you. So The person either acts out in sadness or they act out in anger. If they act out in the healthier way, which is anger, this means that that person might come for you. This person might show up at your job. They might show up at your home. They might insist that they get the closure that you denied them. And what will you do? You will paint this person as a loony bin, as if they are completely attached and out of their mind. And how could they dare behave in that way, that you don't owe them anything and now you're a stalker? And then that's totally untrue. Now you've turned you being a shitty person into you being a direct asshole. Yeah, I'm saying it. A direct asshole. Because how in the world would you do that to somebody, and then when they actually retaliate, or not retaliate, but just come back for their own closure, you deny them closure and then make them out to be something hideous? Who are you? So you have now transpired or changed into being a person who is a coward, who is scared to behave correctly, who is scared to be a morally sound person, into being someone who is callous, who is a liar, who is manipulative, and who is trying to paint a picture of themselves being better on the back of someone they actually brought pain and trauma to. Really. So ghosting culture is toxic, because if that person, the lack thereof of accountability, the fear of being able to say things forthright and be a stand-up person regardless of how much it may hurt somebody, creates a person who can easily fall into an abyss of being a shitty individual, someone who is callous. Ghosting someone is just raggedy. It's a selfish behavior that allows you to not take accountability for your choices, your decisions on what you want to do moving forward. You do not want to deal with the person and the hurt and pain that you're about to cause them. You do not want to stand in your choices as a stand-up individual. And so you cowardly pretend to die. Literally, you pretend to be a ghost. That's ridiculous, and you should be ashamed of yourself if you're behaving in that way. Moving forward, stop that. Cut it out. It's not cute. Now, there are a couple of reasons that you can validly or should validly ghost somebody. The main one, violence. If a person is going to be threatening you with violence, if a person is going to become violent with you, if you know for sure that this person is going to put their hands on you as soon as you try to tell them that you're going to back out of a situation with them, get the hell out of there silently. Yes, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Don't tell them nothing. You don't owe them nothing. And the reason why you don't owe them anything is because you already know that your safety is going to be an issue. And you do not owe them your safety in order to change your mind about where you want to be at. And the odds are you probably are trying to get out of that situation because you have already seen the red flags of violence, or you have already been transgressed against. And yes, you must protect yourself at all costs. So yeah, under those circumstances, you can walk away silently and ghost the person. Get out of there. The second reason is another person is not, you know that this person is not going to accept it. They're going to be under a large case of denial, and they have a codependency problem. They're going to call numerous of times. They're going to show up at all family functions, open forums, wherever they can be. I'm stopping at the same store as you, but I come to this store type situation every week or whatever, following your plans and programs. If they're going to be that type of person, yes. Initially, I would still try to tell that type of person, because it's not violent. So I would try to tell that type of person that, I'm about to, I don't want to do this anymore. But if that person continues and persists, I would just, cut off all communication. I don't consider that to be abrupt. I don't consider that to be ghosting, because that person was told. I just consider that to be standing on your boundaries after you have told that person. But you still should give this person the closure that they need by telling them, because they can become a codependent person, can become the violent person if they are just ghosted completely. Because remember, I said that there's two natural reactions to ghosting, and one of them is anger, and anger is actually the healthier of behaviors. So they could become a violent person. The third reason for ghosting someone, besides being violent and besides somebody being codependent, is when that person is not going to take no for an answer and become a stalker. A full-blown stalker, someone who's going to show up at all of your events, going to call your job and make mess, be like basically someone who is going to retaliate against you for the behaviors, not in a violent way, and not in a codependent way where they just want to be around you, but more so, I'm going to get you back for not being with me. If I can't be with you, then I'm going to ruin your life type behavior. If you know that that person practices retaliation, I'm petty type behavior, which has been another thing we'll talk about on another subject, another day. But if that person often is in that type of mentality and you know that that's going to be the thing that happens to you, then ghosting them probably is the best move, because your job, your livelihood, your happiness, your joy is still valid, and you should take care of yourself before you take care of anybody else. If those three things do not apply, and you are ghosting someone because you don't want to hurt their feelings, know that you are creating more trauma than hurting of feelings. People deserve the right to be told that you don't want to talk to them anymore, that you're not interested in them anymore, that you've changed your mind and now you want to go play with a new pretty penny, no matter how stupid you look. Creating a space where you can still have a door open just in case that pretty penny doesn't shine anymore and you want to come back, and you can make excuses for your ghosting like, oh, my life was really under turmoil then and I didn't know how to tell you things were wrong or whatever, is you being the most toxic version of yourself, and you, my dear, are a red flag. Ghosting behavior is not to protect someone's energy. Ghosting behavior is not something you should do just because you don't want to, spare anybody's feelings and because you don't owe anybody anything. Ghosting behavior is a toxic behavior that we have picked up, and they're hiding it under the guise of spirituality. And I promise my ancestors do not believe in that. You say it from your chest. Stop playing possum. I say all of that to say this. Being the best version of yourself is not just taking care of yourself. It's also taking care of the people around you, the people that you foster relationships with, your friendships, your associates, your family members. All of them are a direct mirror of who you are as a person, a reflection of all of your triumphs, your failures. Your work is presented in a painting or mural of your lifespan. So the way you deal with people is a direct reflection of who you are, regardless of what picture you paint for the outside world. Being a person who makes choices but cannot stand on those choices is being a coward. And although you may be able to hide under a tree for a certain amount of time, hide up under a rock, or play dead for a certain amount of time, cowards are always shown in the light. Now, you can wait to be outed, or you can out yourself. Stand up and stand on your own too. Now, you've been listening to me ramble for long enough. Bye for now. You know your girl got to hop on here and give you all the gratitude and appreciation for listening to me. Of course, you can reach me at lovespell_LVS888 on Instagram. I have a TikTok now at lovespell888, and you can send me messages on Gmail at lovespell.lvs888@gmail.com. You can also drop comments and tell me how you feel about this episode, and if you have any suggestions about what I can talk about moving forward. Make sure you hit that like button, share, and subscribe to my channel. I would love to see you again. Thank you, and bye for now.